So I think some of my painting has been appealing to him because of its being built, and the jewelry, of course, is. But the paintings of mine that he owns are not typically very three-dimensional. They're a little bit so. Thick, maybe. Couple of layers. He recently acquired one of my most ambitious big things. It was called Overpass and Underpass. Two great big things that come to hang together and interact with one another. And he's now, we did a new lobby for wet. And this is on the lead wall. And, that's very nice.
When you said he's a designer, what does that mean to you? Do you consider yourself a designer, or do you consider yourself an artist or a builder, or you made a distinction?
If you don't know the answer to that, Phuqueu.
Hey, I don't speak French, so I don't even know what you're talking about. L'chaim.
L'chaim, take a drink of that. You're holding it in your hand and it's not going anywhere.
I'm pacing myself.
Yeah.
What's your answer to it, though? What's your answer to it? I mean...
Say it again.
Well, the designer... what does that mean to you? Like someone who's a designer.
Say it again. Ask the question again.
What does the term designer mean to you?
Well, it means a lot of things. It has to mean to me what it means publicly, which is the production in form, the creation in form of objects that perform services, either physically or graphically. For me, design means the language of vision. To use the term that was the name of a book. It means all the things you would study in a basic design course having to do with the elements of design. But it means using those toward objectives that go beyond the mere, what should I say, academically accurate representation of them in form, in color, in space, what have you. So, for me, a course like 160 has a nickname. You don't know its nickname?
I don't think
Shame on you. It's called The Bridge.
Right.
See where I am? Where I've been. I'm in a funny place. I still hope that I'll give 160 again. And my hearing's terrible, but they are doing things to improve it. I sort of come alive with the students. And they seem very appreciative. And in the lectures in 160, I attempt to very much identify, in the bridge sense, a play between something that you might do in 60, which is purely elemental, and something that is about, what should I say, its fulfillment in a communicative or utilitarian sense. Then you remember, I suppose, that besides the first chapter, or the first lecture, which is contextual, they are utility, propaganda, pleasure, vanity, and ceremony. These are all, for me, big, major cornerstones of visual expression, fine or designed. And I attempt to deal with all kinds of objects, practical and purely communicative or aesthetic, in each category.
So did you say find or designed? You said something or designed? Fine
art.
Fine art.
application, or
Okay.
Practical application.
Right. Okay.
And I'm distressed at a culture that sees these as antithetical or even enemies.
Yeah. What do you see that makes you think that? Like, what do you see in the culture that makes you think that?
Well, I say that to the fine artist, he sees the designer as practically profit-oriented and not as subjectively concerned with content or deeper service. And I sort of illustrate this by saying that among all of the kinds of artists we know, only the designer may be known to vote Republican. True? That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Want a refill?
Yes, but no.
Okay. I want to know about music. Because I remember when we went I guess it was advanced creative studies, but we went to the Disney Hall in Los Angeles. And I think that is when you did, or afterwards, you did Diva.
It's somewhat touched by that, but it's as much touched by the classical European and Eastern American opera house, La Scala in particular. And the one painting that you saw that looks like the same canvas is called Standing Ovation. And it dealt entirely with this moire patterns expressing the idea of vibrant noise echoing in this great chamber. And so I decided, what if I took the time a little earlier or a little later and dealt with the performance that instigated the response? And so I did this, and I call it Diva. Diva, from which we get the word divine. So here, there's a performance underway. And there's one performer, and you can hardly find the performer. It's that little bump in the middle on the stage. But it's the one place where the color gets quite warm. Another example of that. Okay? And the overall hall is now, if resonant with the sound of a one voice.
There are a lot of animals and natural elements in here. Do you find that you're more inspired by that, or by that's a place and an architecture?
You know, I love animals at a little distance. I can handle cats easily. I don't handle dogs easily. Though I like them. And they like me. But it's still a little bit of a distance.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of animals. And Ira's significant other, a woman named Freddie, who actually raises dogs and shows them, she has one I did called Orang, and she has one I called Great Ape, the two major ones. I don't know if she has another animal or not, but there are other animals.
And what I guess I'm wondering, I know this one has a specific message because of